Hey you guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to demystify for you what proteins really are. And I was inspired from a client who I saw not too long ago, who came in for a nutrition assessment. And through her assessment, I noticed that she was using a specific protein powder that was costing her about $80 per month on a daily basis. And she had been using it for over a year. And I kind of went in to inquire a little bit, what was the purpose of that? What is she used for? And she didn't really have any responses to my questions. She didn't have an answer for me. All she knew was that she had started training with a trainer a while back. He had recommended that protein powder. And even after she stopped using his services, she kept taking the protein powder as a form of breakfast. And even as I was inquiring more deeper, I could tell that there was no real knowledge as to how protein is supposed to support you in general. And to me, that's one example, right? But even I've seen online, people are confused. Are beans a source of protein or a source of carbohydrate? If you know anything about the African culture, or even the Caribbean culture, the Latin American culture, beans and rice, some type of combination of legumes and grains are like a staple to our cuisine. And I remember seeing a post where someone was like, your parents lied to you, beans are not proteins, they are a source of carbohydrates. And a lot of people were backing it up, like, yes, beans are a source of carbohydrate, they're not a source of protein, and blah. The more you investigate the general consensus around nutrition in general, but specifically protein, the more you see that a lot of people are confused. And I don't blame you, because it is a confusing topic. Nutrition in general is very confusing. And I hope through my videos that I kind of demystify or unveil this veil around the mystery of nutrition. Because my goal is this: you need to be informed about what something does on your body. And I do this with all of my clients. You need to be informed in order to make better decisions for yourself. Because some of these companies, they create some type of problems and they prey on the fact that you don't know what the nutrient actually does in your body for you to spend a large amount of money. She was spending $80, right? Which it's not a large amount of money, but yearly, every month, it can add up. Okay. So without no further ado, let me start by introducing myself. My name is Zeli Maliambo. I am a wellness and beauty coach and a clinical nutrition specialist. And I guarantee you that I'm going to become your favorite nutritionist, right? I own a functional wellness clinic called Zeli Wellness, where we don't only teach you about nutrition and so forth, but we really focus on help you develop a healthier relationship with yourself. Now, let's get into the topic. I have notes here to keep me on track. This video might be a little lengthy, so if you do want to skip through different subjects, you're welcome to do so. However, I guarantee you that if you watch the video from beginning to end, you have a different perspective on proteins. Let me start by answering the basic questions. What is a protein? Okay. So this is where the confusion is. What is a protein? How do you classify a protein? How do you know if a protein is good for you? This is all what I'm going to answer in the first stages of this video. So in nutrition, a protein is classified or characterized as a micronutrient. All that means is that you need that nutrient in a large quantity on a daily basis. One, because of the type of function that it has in your body, which we'll go over in a little bit. And two, because it can also be used as a source of energy. Now, if you've taken my Nourish Your Temple class, where I break down all of these concepts in a very simple way, you know that your body runs on energy. And without energy, energy is actually the fuel of the body. Without energy, you will not survive. And so the body has developed some mechanism to take whatever micronutrient it has on hand, although its preferred sources is usually fat or carbohydrates. But when it needs it, whatever micronutrients it has on hand in order to make energy. So what does that visually look like? If you are in a period of starvation and you have muscles, okay, your body is going to prioritize you getting energy over you having a fit body. That's just a fact. And a lot of people who are training in a gym but not supporting their body properly, they're not seeing the result because your body does not care if you look toned, if you look fit, if you look like a bodybuilder. Your body is more concerned with you being alive. We'll go into that. And like I said, if you've taken my Nourish Your Temple course, I break these concepts down in a very, very simple form. So that's one thing to know about protein. It's a micronutrient. The next thing to know is that what the food protein really provides our body is the building block, like the Legos, like the most simplest unit, in order for our body to manipulate these building blocks into whatever it needs. Okay. And whatever it needs, the function of protein. So let me go into it while we're talking about it. You have skin, hair, immune system. Certain hormones are made of protein, neurotransmitters, enzyme. I mean, the list goes on, but the primary role that proteins or amino acids serve is the structural aspect of the human body, or of life in general, even animals too, the structural aspects, okay? So that's why we call protein the building block, because it is so important to everything that you see, not only outside of the body, but inside of the body too, especially tissues. So this is why when you have someone who is growing, and I'm gonna talk about it in a little bit, but like a baby, for instance, right? The mother's milk is so important to a baby because it has such a high concentrated of the nutrients, specifically those amino acids that the baby needs to grow. Okay. So we talked about that. So now let's talk about amino acid. Again, I personally think this is where it could get a little confusing. The primary nutrients that the body extracts from a source of protein, from a food that is characterized as a source of protein, is amino acid. Let me zone in on this a little bit. There are about 40 amino acids in the world. Don't quote me on that. I believe there's 40. It might be more. This is from memory. I didn't research that. Don't quote me on this, okay? I know for a fact, though, that out of those 40 amino acids, there are 20 of them that is used by your body to carry on all of these functions that I just talked about. The immune cells, the skin that you see. What else did I say? The enzyme, the hormones. All of these are created out of 20 amino acid, okay? Out of those 20 amino acid, there are 9 that in the nutrition world, we consider them essential. All that means is that your body doesn't have the mechanism to actually create that building block called essential amino acid. So it has to get it from your foods on a daily basis. Why? Because your body changes every single day, okay? The cells, your tissues have something that we call a life cycle, meaning it is created, it serves its lifetime and certain type of function, and then it dies. And when it dies, it needs a source of these nutrients from the outside world, from the food that we eat, in order to maintain itself. And so out of those 20 amino acid, 9 of them you need to consume on a daily basis. This is what we call essential amino acid. When we consider a food a protein, we're looking at, can it provide the body with the essential amino acid that the body needs in order to carry on itself? Once the fish gets into my mouth, it's going to go to my digestive system and it's going to get digested. All that means it's going to get broken down so that those 9 essential amino acids are going to be available for absorption. Once it does, your body is going to absorb those 9 essential amino acids. Once it does get absorbed, is going to use those building blocks however it needs to use them in order to create all of the function that we talked about. And sometimes when it combines them in a certain sequence and fold them in a certain way, it is again called a protein inside of your body. So why is this important is a lot of people are confused for food that are like beans, for instance, right? Like I said, I saw a post where someone was like, beans are not a source of protein. Yes, in the nutrition world, we consider beans as a source of protein. Why? Because bean has a high amount of those essential amino acid that we need. So I think beans in general, out of the 9 that I said are needed, beans miss about 1 or 2, I believe. Yes, 1 or 2 amino acid are lacking in beans in general, right? But all the rest, okay, all the other 7 are available. And so to a nutritionist, that is a source of amino acids. So this food is categorized as a protein. That doesn't mean it cannot also be a carbohydrate. We don't look at that when we're talking about proteins. And most of the foods that you're going to see in the world are not going to come isolated. So if you guys have ever heard of isolated protein powders, that's because they extracted the certain amino acid that they needed for it to be just those amino acid in your protein powder. But most food in the world are not isolated. They come with micronutrients attached together in a matrix, okay? They have micronutrients such as vitamins, fat, and all that good stuff. Beans, okay, our parents knew what they were talking about. Beans are a source of protein and they are also a source of carbohydrate. The next question is, how do we categorize a food as a good source of protein? I explained that in the nutrition world, a food becomes a source of protein depending on the amount of essential amino acid that is present in that food. Now that amount can vary and the food can still be considered a protein. So if the food has the 9 essential amino acid present in the nutritional world, we'll call that food a complete form of protein because it has all of the 9 amino acids that the body cannot produce. However, there are certain food that may not have all 9 amino acids, so they may be missing 1 or 2. These type of protein, we'll call them incomplete sources of protein because although they may have 7, they're missing 2 other amino acids, and the person eating it have to be mindful of that. So that's the one part that a protein has to have. The second part is it needs to be bioavailable. What does that mean? A food has no value to the human body if the human body cannot extract the nutrient that it needs. Meaning, if I have a source of protein in front of me and it gets into my digestive system, but my gut cannot extract those amino acid out, that food has no value to my body, I should say. So here's the thing. Sometimes it is on the human side. So if you have any condition that affects your gut, that's why gut health is super, super, super important. If you have any gut health issues, please see a healthcare practitioner. Please collaborate with a nutritionist. Okay, have a whole team around you, because if you cannot extract the food, the nutrients, I should say, that your body needs, you might get into the deficiency zone, and we do not want that. That's when the body starts deteriorating. We do not need that. We do not want that. So sometimes it could be on the human side. Other times, though, it can be on the food side. So certain foods don't give away their nutrients easily. You have to manipulate them when you're cooking a certain way, or you have to consume them with something else, another nutrient that's going to help expose that nutrient out. Certain foods are greedy. They created those nutrients for themselves, not for humans, and they do not want your body to absorb it, okay? And so that is something that we are mindful of when, as a nutritionist, or when we're working with proteins. In the case of protein, there is a tool, okay? The tool is called Digestive Indispensable Amino Acid Score, the DIAAS. And if you're part of my mailing list, I probably mailed that to you already. If you're not part of my mailing list, please get on it, because I do share different tools that we use as nutritionists so that you can have visibility and transparency into how nutrition works, right? So this tool helps examine not only how much of the essential amino acid is in a certain food, but how bioavailable those amino acids are to the human body. So we talked about it, what makes a food a protein, the amount of essential amino acid that it has, and how bioavailable it is to your body. All right, the next question is, how much protein do we need? Now, that is the question. I love this question. Let me start with that. And I think that is also where a lot of people are confused. So let me break it down to you guys. So we talked about the function of proteins, okay? We talked about how important protein is to the structural component of life in general, but because we're talking about humans, specifically to the human body. So we also talked about that everything in the human body has a life cycle, even the structural aspect, right? And what that means is something is created, it serves its purpose, and then it dies. And to be created again, it needs new and fresh nutrients, okay? So when we're talking about protein need, we want to have that concept in mind. That life cycle happens naturally and it varies for different parts of the body. Like the cells of your skin have a different life cycle than your blood, they have a different life cycle than everything else. They have their own different life cycle. We can't really count those life cycles. That is why you need to have a daily amount of the essential nutrients, because you don't know when something in your body dies and renews, okay? You're just providing the nutrients that they need so that when they do renew, they come back fresher, better, stronger, just a better version of the first one. That's what you want to have in mind. Now, the life cycle happens naturally usually, but sometimes it can't be pushed artificially. What do I mean by that? So I think the perfect example that I can use is the skin. So you go to your esthetician and you get a chemical peel. What is going to happen is the layer of your skin is going to die off to make way for new skin, okay? That is an artificial speed up of the life cycle of those cells. We want that new skin to come out. We want to give different nutrients to that new skin so that it appears better, smoother, glossier than the previous skin. That's the concept. That happens with skincare. That happens with muscle building. That's the whole concept that is used with muscles as well. When you are lifting weight, you're creating artificial tear and you want to provide your body with enough nutrients for those muscles to rebuild themselves stronger. That also happens, interestingly enough, for people who don't make that connection with surgery, with any type of trauma. For plastic surgery, for instance, I have clients who have done plastic surgery and then we really work on providing their body the nutrients they need for their recovery, okay? That also happens, unfortunately, for trauma that is not done intentionally. So anybody that has been in car accident or falls or any type of trauma, you do want to increase the amount of essential amino acid so that the structure of your body heals properly.
All right, so with that in mind, with everything that I just said, let's talk about the formulas that are used as a golden standard to make sure that you obtain the baseline of essential amino acid that your body needs, okay? So typically the baseline, the golden standard formula, this is used for someone who is not exercising, who does not have any artificial injury going on, who does not have injuries in general, who is not growing, okay, like a baby. This is the typical formula that we use for men and women. 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. This is the amount that you want to meet daily, not weekly, daily, to make sure those new cells that are being created, or your body in general, has the amino acid that it needs in order to carry on optimally. Now, if you're doing a little bit more, if you have an artificial injury going on, or if you have, and I'm not talking about skincare specifically, right? I'm talking about if you're building muscle, if you're bodybuilder, if you want your muscle to show. That is something that happens to my girlies who are in the gym for years and are disappointed because they don't see their body morphing in the way that they want. They're not providing their body with the amount of nutrients that it needs in order to do that, right? So if you're a girly who wants to build a little bit more muscle for it to be visible, this is for you. This is also for people who have injury in general, right? Or people who have certain conditions who need a little bit more protein. And for that, you will have to work with a healthcare practitioner or nutritionist. You could work with me. But for those people who need a little bit more, the formula changes a little bit. For women, it's about 1.2 to 1.6 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. That is, again, daily. Okay, for men, it's a little higher. It's 1.2 to 2 grams of proteins per kilogram of body weight daily. That's if you're not just chilling at home. That's if you know that you are trying to reach a goal or you're going through something that requires your body to have a little bit more protein. So this is all your body needs. You guys don't need to load up crazy. I've seen certain things on social media, recommendations. I'm telling you, when you don't know what the nutrients does for your body, these companies prey on people. And I just look at stuff like, oh my God. All I can say is, oh my God. Our last question is, what is the best source of protein? Love that question. Now, you can consume supplements, but supplements should not be the foundation of your regimen. Let me say that again. Supplements are not and should never be the foundation of your regimen. Now, in subsequent videos, I am going to talk about protein powders and give you guys a little bit more insight on that. In this video, I wanted to focus on proteins, the basics, and end the video with what are some great sources of protein. Now, the best way to obtain all of your essential amino acid is to obtain them from wholesome foods. Okay, look at your plate first before adding any type of supplements. Now, in the world, we have two sources of essential amino acid. We have the animal sources of protein and the plant sources of protein. Let's talk about the animal a little bit. The animal sources of protein are going to have all of your 9 essential amino acid in one serving. Why? The reason for that is because animals, their physiology are similar to humans than plants. And so they're essentially going to have all of the amino acid that we need, okay? However, I don't have an agenda. I prefer for someone to eat a balanced diet, whichever that is for them. If the balanced diet for you is to eat plant-based, there are ways we can do that for you to meet your nutrients. If the balanced diet for you is to eat some type of animal product, there is a way you can do it and meet all of your nutrients. I do not judge. I don't have an agenda, but I have to be transparent. I said the positive part about consuming your protein from animals is that you're going to get all of your 9 essential amino acids. You're not going to miss one at all. The negative part, however, a heavy overconsumption of animal food is extremely acidic to your body. Okay, it is so acidic that if you have kidneys or liver issues, you want to really be careful. The breakdown of protein creates a byproduct called ammonia that is extremely toxic to the brain. And on a regular basis, when your body is working properly, your kidney and your liver can take care of that. But even just hearing that, it should ring an alarm that yes, you can eat animal food, but don't overdo it. Okay, that's 1. 2, especially for those who love the red meats. I'm talking to my Africans out there. Come to the front of the class. Red meat interacts with the microbiome in our gut in order to create a byproduct that is a carcinogen. This is proven. This is evidence-based. Everything that I talk about here is evidence-based, meaning it has been studied and tested. It's not somebody saying, I think that's what it is. No, it creates a byproduct that is extremely carcinogenic, meaning it can create cancer. So you want to be careful with any type of red meat that is out there, right? So that's for the animal sources of protein. Plant sources of protein. Did you know that about 80 or 90% of the amino acid provided to the world out there comes from plants? Okay, let me talk about the positive of the plant-based protein. Okay, and the plant sources, I don't know why I keep saying base, the plant sources of protein. Amino acid actually come from plants. Animals that are herbivores eat those plants, extract those amino acids from those plants, and animals that are carnivore eat those animals and get their amino acid through those animals, but it's a chain of events. Okay, so I hate that rhetoric when people are like, you cannot meet your protein needs if you eat plants. Is it going to require a little bit of maneuvering? Yes. But can you not meet it? Absolutely not. Yes, you can. So the one thing that you want to be mindful of, okay, I talked about the positives, okay. One thing that I'm going to add to the positive plant sources of protein is that plants don't just come with amino acid, they come with a variety of amazing nutrients, okay, that you want to add to your regimen no matter what. Even if you are someone that eats predominantly animal food, add some vegetables, add some greens, add some beans, add some legumes, add some plants to your regimen, okay? Let's talk about the other side. One, a lot of plant sources of protein are incomplete. Remember? We said that incomplete means that they might have 7 or 8 of the essential amino acid, but they might not have all of them. Although there's a list that I'm going to put at the bottom of this video of complete plant proteins that have all of the 9 essential amino acid. Because they tend to be incomplete, you want to pair them. Here's a cool thing, right? So, like I said, in the African cuisine, we mix a lot of the African, the Caribbean, the Latin America cuisine. We mix a lot of legumes with grains, okay? What is interesting is rice and beans, for instance, right? That dish. The beans are lacking, I believe, 1 essential amino acid, 1 or 2, I can never remember, but 1 or 2. The amino acid that they're lacking, the rice has it. So the combination of those two make it to the 9 essential amino acid. I'm always amazed by things like that I found out, because I don't know, did the ancestors knew what was going on? Did they have a name for it? I don't know, but it amazes me, right? And so when you're eating or when you're sourcing your protein predominantly from plants, you want to make sure that you have a variety of plants available to you, a variety of plant protein available to you, so that you make sure that you get all your 9 essential amino acid. Okay, another negative about plants, okay, that could be bypassed, but you have to be mindful of. That is the concept that people use to tell you that plant cannot provide you protein, and that's a big no, okay? And that concept is this. A lot of plant-based proteins are seeds, okay? And a seed, the way Mother Nature works, whenever you have a seed or when you have a baby, it's going to have all of the concentrated nutrient that organism needs to grow tall, long, and beautiful. Okay, and that's why a lot of them have the amino acid that we need, because it is packaged in a way for the plant to use it to grow tall and beautiful. So I talked about a baby and the mother's milk being the best source of a nutrient for a baby, because it does have all of the concentrated nutrient that the baby needs to grow, including the essential amino acid. However, as human beings, we can defend ourselves with our brains, with our feet, with our hands. We're a little bit more mobile. We can run, we can move to protect ourselves from predator. Plants cannot do that. So how did Mother Nature make up for that? Mother Nature created some biochemical protectant around those seeds, okay? And so if you consume those seeds without maneuvering them in the proper way, you may not be able to extract the nutrient that you need, including the essential amino acid. Now, what did I say earlier? A food is of no use to the body if you cannot extract the nutrients that you need. What can you do about it? Our ancestors knew, because things like soaking, sprouting, cooking, fermenting, these are a way in which you can maneuver those chemicals in order to make those nutrients available to your body, okay? So I'm going to end this video with this. If you love what you watch, please subscribe to my channel. I would love for you guys to give me your feedback on more videos. If you're not part of the mailing list, go ahead and sign up, because I give so much information to my mailing list. I read these clinical studies for fun, and providing information to my mailing list. I provide certain tools to my mailing list. So if you're not part of it, please go ahead and join. And then if you do join, you'll have access to my WhatsApp group as well, where you can ask me questions. You could have me available to you for whatever your nutritional needs are. Hope you loved that video, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Bye.